Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Brian Lawrence with us. Brian is CEO and founder at Winsight Coaching and Training. He basically helps entrepreneurs fight loneliness and overwhelm. He's a husband and dad, times four, so four kids. He's a faith-forward entrepreneur, business coach, working genius facilitator, and a Maxwell certified team member. He worked at Ramsey Solutions, so Dave Ramsey, for those that know him. He worked there for 6.6 years. It's a lot of time. So eager to see what Brian learned there. And today we're going to talk about family, community, leadership, intentionality, and organizational health. This podcast is brought to you by podpar.com. If you want to start your own podcast and scale it, you can go to podpar.com. We can help you do that the unconventional way. Brian, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and about Winsight.
Thanks, Charles. It's a pleasure to be here. A little bit about me. Like you were just saying, I'm a dad of four. I got four boys. I'm out here in Middle Tennessee, and I run a coaching and training business that really wants to help entrepreneurs not be so lonely. You know, business can be an isolating thing, and I think it's one of the biggest fallacies and the biggest lies that we have to do it by ourselves in order to be successful. So trying to give people support and helping them.
Yeah, it's certainly a topic of actuality, founder loneliness, there's burnout, there's depression as well amongst founders. When you're climbing a mountain, usually it's done solo in that context. And yeah, you might have a couple of Sherpas here and there, but they really don't understand what's going through your mind. And that's when having a coach can be helpful. I'm curious though, as per your background, what did you learn from working for Dave Ramsey for that long?
And how much time do you have? It was an incredible experience. My wife and I, we're Christians, and we got led here. We felt like by the Lord. We were living in Phoenix before, and almost 7 years working for an incredible man that was running a $300 million business, and the leadership lessons of how to navigate through hard times, and leaders coming and going, and what does it look like to over communicate and treat people well on your team. He had enough money and enough opportunity to run businesses different ways, but he was an exceptional leader. He always led with the highest degree of authenticity, and it really did. My time there showed me a lot of how do you run a business a good way, even as it's getting bigger. And it was different from a lot of experiences that I've had before. So it was really impactful, Charles.
And was your faith strengthened? Because I know that Dave is also Christian and runs his business on Christian values. So was that strengthened on your time there?
Yeah, every day is an opportunity for that. But coming over here, I started working with him when I only had one son, and now I've got four of them. And the daily walking through, how do I lead them the right way? What does it look like to launch a business? How do I walk forward in building community and helping other people? It really is like every day is an opportunity to build that faith. But working there was absolutely seeing a lot of it in practice from somebody who'd been doing a lot longer than I have.
And what's your philosophy on faith and spirituality? My case, I think, is just a spice that propels me to greater lengths. It gives me meaning and something that's way bigger than myself. So, on your side, how do you intertwine your faith into your existing business to grow further and faster?
Yeah. Well, Winsight coaching and training, Winsight actually comes from Proverbs 4:7, where it says, get wisdom, get get insight. And I just mashed the two, wisdom and insight, together. Ultimately, I believe that all wisdom is from above. Like anything that we have in our minds, anything that we do exceptional here on earth comes from our Heavenly Father. And I absolutely believe that as I go into business, as I walk with other people, that especially as we fight against this doing business by yourself or feeling like you have to have all the answers, mine is not only a call to, hey, you should probably do it with other people, but it's also a call to say, hey, for those of you that have a faith, that believe in God, like, don't forget the fact that he's where truth comes from. He is where wisdom comes from. He is where those good ideas that you're going to have come from. And don't get moving so fast that you miss that. So to me, I can't help but see that every bit of it is all intertwined.
Tell me about the Dave Ramsey philosophy to believe it is to save money and to not spend more than you earn or something like that. What's the core of his philosophy?
The core of his philosophy is debt is dumb and cash is king. You know, having the opportunity from a business perspective, but just life perspective, you can do more and you actually have more freedom when you're the one that's holding the money. And, you know, as it says in the Bible, like the borrower is slave to the lender. Being able to have the freedom and the autonomy that comes with the, I'm not tied to anybody. It's not up to somebody else as if to I can or can't. You know, money talks, and money allows a lot more freedom than for people that need to borrow.
And have you seen the flip side of that philosophy? People that spend a whole lot, are in debt but are still happy.
I mean, it's a big on both sides of the conversation, you know, for as long as he's been in business and for as long as, you know, there will be people on this earth, there's always going to be both sides of the conversation that so many people will say, hey, you know, debt is the only way. And unless you're building credit and unless you're, you know, getting points and unless you're doing all of these kind of things, you're not going to be successful. And then there's people on the other side with Dave that say, hey, if you have enough money, why do you need points? If you have enough money, you don't need to have a credit score. You can just buy what you want. And I tend to think, and I lean more into the freedom side of things when it comes to the availability to have more of the say of where does your money go, and again, not have to be so reliant on what other people will or won't let you do. So, but it's a big conversation. I mean, you probably have seen it too.
Yeah, well, me, I spend a whole lot, live a good life, and I'm not stressed by much, you know. I'm not optimizing for, I mean, I'm somewhat good at buying stuff, you know, I'm not the best, but I'm really good at making money and I like it, you know. I'm not good at investing it. I'm not at that stage yet. I'm good at investing it in my health. A lot of financial gurus talk about investing in stocks, you know, but like what is more precious than your health? How much more can you invest in you if it's not in gaining years of life, or gaining additional energy on a daily basis to have more fun and to produce more cash, you know? So yeah, I feel there's a bunch of different philosophies out there, but it's worthwhile talking about the contrarian ones as well on the other side of Dave Ramsey's philosophy.
Well, I believe that everything we should all always have our ears, our antennas up, and we should always all be learning. There's daily new opportunities to learn things that are going to help us to grow, to develop, to better ourselves, to challenge the ways that we're thinking. And you know, one of the philosophies that I have in the work that I do is this idea of so many people in the business coaching space, they're really good to say, hey, how do you get to be successful in your business? And well, let's talk about your revenue. Let's talk about the growth and the expansion of your team. But a lot of the times, those people are not also saying, all right, now how do you lead yourself to your point? How do you not, you know, take care of your body? How do you lead your family? What does it look like to be a present spouse and a present parent, to where you're actually raising those up around you to be better and stronger, yourself included? Because it's that whole idea of once your cup gets empty, there's no way that you're pouring into somebody else effectively if your cup's empty. So to me, I do think that there is an inexplicable overlay with all of it, of like leading yourself, leading your family, leading your business. And frankly, I'll tell a lot of the people that I work with, if they're killing it in their business and their family life or their physical or personal life is suffering, we're going to have a big conversation of saying, I think that we're missing the wrong thing. Like, I think you're doing the wrong thing. So I think it all touches, and I don't think enough people stop and really pay attention to that from the business side of things.
Right. Life is also somewhat unpredictable and tough to predict. Who knows, like someone that might grind for 5 years might have a life-changing exit, and he might get that specific version of life that he wants or she wants. Um, Most founders, though, it's tough to raise a family when you're that much all in. You know, you do sacrifice some stuff, so it's hard. Most of these founders, they wait a couple of years till they have a serious relationship and start having children's in their 35, sometimes in their 40s. So it all depends on, their life philosophies. But what are you seeing founders struggle with nowadays with your clients? If you can give us like an ICP of like who they are and some of their psychometrics and what do they struggle with, that'd be helpful.
People that I tend to work with, Charles, are going to be small business owners that have team members that are reporting up to them, that they are responsible for in leading and developing and coaching and training them. And they're going to probably be anywhere from $500,000 top line, anywhere from up to like 10 to 15 to 20 million. And uh, the biggest thing that usually is the common factor between them is that they lead people, they've got a family that they're leading well, and they see it valuable to make sure that they're doing both of those things right. And the fact that the message that I preach out to so many people is don't do business alone. Do it in community, find a group to do it. I offer masterminds that help people to do that. Those are the things that when the people come together and they say, I know that it's important that I'm around other people. I know that it's important that this whole lone wolf entrepreneur is not a realistic thing. And it's that proverb that used to say, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. That's the people that I usually attract and work the best with, are the people that realize that we're playing a long game here. This is not just a buy to sell or a buy for the end of the year. So that's the people that I tend to work the best with.
Right. And what about these Silicon Valley founders that are going for the $1 billion? Do you also help those, or think that their decisions to go for unconventional is a good one?
I don't think it's a bad one. And here's what I mean by that is anybody that is going to make decisions first has to define what success means for them. And if people are honest, sometimes success for me as a Christian guy with 4 kids and a wife that I love dearly, success for me is building a business that is healthy both on the personal and the professional space. Now, somebody who's not protecting a family or not leading a family, or maybe again, if they're honest, that isn't a priority to them. There's nothing stopping them from working 80 to 100 hours a week, to giving it their all, to sleeping at the office, to barely seeing their spouse. Uh, but again, starting with that, they've got to be able to define what does success mean. And to the extent that they do, and to the extent that our values align, those are going to be the people that we work with. And if people are honest and they say, hey, you know what? Success for me is to just make a ridiculous amount of money and to grind for the next 2 years and to sell and to live the rest of my days on a beach in Cancun. Like if they're honest and they want to do that, all the power to them. I just don't think that there's a lot of people that are knowingly making those decisions. I think some people are accidentally finding themselves there because they don't have people challenging them to say, is that what you really want? Or are you following somebody else's definition of success? And unfortunately, I think a lot of people are just doing what they see and they're ending up in places with a lot of regret.
Fully aligned with what you just said. On your side, you're a 4X dad, 4 boys, so interesting amount of energy to handle on a daily basis. You mentioned that your goal is to teach these young adults of how to be ones eventually. So, what are some of the parenting tips that you can drop for us?
I can only share with you with the things that I've done wrong and the lessons that I've learned over these last, 8 to 10 years. And daily, I told you a few moments ago, those people that are daily learning and daily trying to get better. Well, I'm front of the line, and there's always an opportunity to learn and to do better. But uh, I see that a lot of leadership conversations for business are true at home. For me, it's asking questions. It's being curious. It's having more grace and having more patience than maybe I saw modeled. Um, for my kids, it's making sure that there's room for me to pursue their heart, knowing that they're growing, know that they're watching their dad, knowing that they're looking to me as like, what does a man do? And how does a man respond to his wife? And how does a man respond to his kids? And uh, I'm big into reading and listening to as much as I can of people that are doing it right with the same type of value alignment that I am. And if there's any tips that I could give people is to be curious about your kids, to realize that not one of them is going to be the same as the other, and to make sure that you become a student of your children and to play the long game by realizing what are we trying to accomplish here? Like we're trying to accomplish in raising good adults. We're trying to accomplish in having adults that have good relationships with their parents and that are, I mean, all the contributing members to society, yes, but like that are grounded emotionally, that are strong physically, and that, are not being pushed around by what the world would say, that they would have their own thoughts. So again, with more time, we got a long conversation there, but daily learning.
So on your side, your goal last year was mostly to survive and thrive with your new child, Samuel, I believe his name is. What are your goals for this year? What are your priorities?
Priorities this year are continuing to be, first and foremost, a present father and a present husband. As I continue to grow my business, to me, that is always going to be the out of bounds marker as I build my business. That if anything that I build ever starts to get to where I'm sacrificing my family, something needs to change. So continuing to monitor and make sure that I'm thriving there. The big focus for Winsight this year is to be expanding the masterminds that we do and continuing to give people more opportunities as they're running their business to have those communities, to not have to feel like that they're building alone, to growing alone, places that can be able to, hey, I've got a problem and I need help from a wise counsel around me. Or, hey, I've got an idea that I'm looking to explore a little bit more. Has anybody done something like this? Maybe a place to be able to come in and just let steam off and say, I am so frustrated with this person on my team or with the direction that the business is going. And to be able to have people look at them and say, hey, I've been there. I understand. Don't do anything foolish. So offering those up, that's what I used to do with Dave's team. And I was leading, and I've led over, 2,500 masterminds in my career. Winsight is going to become more of a mastermind first business in helping as many people as we can by getting them into that community and helping them find that counsel and wisdom from other people.
Right. Your services, how much do they cost and precisely what is it? Is it weekly meetings? Is it check-in? How does it work?
Yeah. Masterminds for me, we offer and we follow kind of a weekly meeting rhythm to where people in a group will meet for an hour a week with people that they're paired up with. This group can be anywhere around the world. They're usually not in the same city with one another. It's virtual on there, but it follows a pattern to where each call get lasts for an hour and it gives two people, at most eight in the call. Two people a week are going to have the opportunity to bring in the problem that they're working through, an idea that they're trying to figure out, or maybe even just something they're interested in, so that they can bring it, talk about it, throw it around, and get feedback. And then have accountability on any of the next steps that they're looking to do so that they can be known. Masterminds for me cost $475 per person per month. And they roll, we're building a community for people to be a part of so that they can have a closer knit group of people to do stuff with. And um, I do one-on-one coaching, but that's really kind of on a per need basis. And then I'll do workshops as well to come on site with teams and that organizational health focus and saying, hey, what does it look like to unite our team around the common mission strategically creating that vision for our company and then being able to make sure that we're all speaking the same language. So those things are going to be, price is going to vary depending on what people need.
And where can people find out more about you, Brian?
Place that I'm most active, I'm not on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, and that's it. So LinkedIn is where a lot of my conversations will happen, where a lot of my engagement will be, is just talking to business around business people. You can also go, my website is a work in progress, but it's winsightco.com, and that's my website as well.